This is the Back Row Bengals Show, college football playoff ranking special edition, all brought to you by fansided.com. Go ahead and head on over there. If you want to read about the Bengals, I just put out a brand new blog, how the Bengals can bounce back after that loss to the Chargers against the 49ers. But tonight, we are not talking about the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, the dream has been realized. The University of Cincinnati Bearcats football team has officially punched their ticket into the college football playoff. That glass ceiling everybody was talking about, everybody said that it couldn't be done. The University of Cincinnati has just kicked the door down to the college football playoff. I am your host, Josh Miller, coming in live, my brother, the fellow diehard, the man that has experienced Bearcats football at the lowest of low and the highest of highs with me, Brian Miller. Brian, welcome to the show. And how great does it feel?
We made it, man. We
did
it.
This
made
is
it. What a time to be alive. I mean, seriously, the dream has finally been realized. It's been captured. For so many years, we looked at, we just wanted to get a piece of it. And, when the playoff first came out and Tommy Tuberville was the coach, it was like, oh boy, we're in for a rough couple of years. I don't think anybody would have thought that 7 years later, after 2014, that UC would be in the college football playoff. It is truly remarkable. I cannot believe it. Just buzz with energy, buzz from the game on Saturday, and buzz from the selection show. The whole process has truly been remarkable, man. I mean, I truly can't believe it.
Let's talk about the American Athletic Conference Championship game. Obviously, you and I were there. It had the entire experience while we were there. I would say personally that was the best I've ever seen Nippert my entire life. The best I've ever experienced it. Would you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, I definitely would agree. I think a close second might have been that Houston game in 2016 when Houston was ranked and UC wasn't. There were a couple of the games. I mean, obviously we went to the Illinois game and that was pretty exciting back in 2009. And then, we were there for a couple of games when they played BYU, but nothing really came close to what that atmosphere was on Saturday night. I 100% agree.
Yeah, from start to finish. I mean, you think back of the great times at UC. You think about the past couple of years, the game against UCLA, the night game against UCF. I mean,
Yeah.
heck, you could talk about this year with Tulsa coming in with College Game Day. But I got to say, in terms of start to finish in the game and in the stadium, that had to be the best atmosphere I've ever experienced in Nippert Stadium. And I got to tell you, that does a lot for recruiting. And just like that, I just want to mention something before we get to the game. I'm getting notifications all day that UC coaches are out recruiting right now, literally that quick. They're that quick. They're all over the country. Had a couple in California. Had a report of Mike Denbrock down in Louisiana, and a lot of people saying, "Oh, he's interviewing up," but no, actually, he was visiting a recruit down there. So all you Death Valley fans can shut the hell up, suck on that. So that being said, it meant so much to the university, and I think we're going to be feeling that moment for years to come.
Yeah, the grind of the college football season. Once they get done with that final regular season game, they have about a week and a half or so, or however long that period is, to go out and fly out and go do some recruiting on the road before they get back and really get into focus for Alabama coming up here on the 31st. So. The grind of the college football season truly never ends. It's you get done with your season, then you recruit for the next season, and then you get prepped for your bowl game, and then after that, it's on to spring ball and on to 2022. So it's a year-long process for those guys. But man, they, you want to talk about they easily could have, kind of taken a couple days off after celebrating and getting to the playoff. Kind of speaks to the testament of the coaching staff, I think, more than anything. That they were out there hitting the road, ready to make the process better. You don't see. I feel like you don't see that kind of grind and grit, with a lot of the teams, and you see that's where UC is at. That's why they're in the top four.
Right, exactly. That's exactly why they broke through. Another reason why is winning the American Athletic Conference championship game. Brian, during that game, did you ever feel like UC was going to lose? I mean, obviously, as a Cincinnati fan, I always had that nagging feeling in the back of my head that they could blow this, and it would be the biggest
Right,
choke job that we've seen in a long
right,
time. And Houston is no knockover. Like they're a team that could go out and beat a significant number of Power Five teams. I mean, they're obviously 11-1.
sure,
That's a great team that came in the nipper, and UC made them
sure.
look mid.
Yeah, I think we both looked at each other at a couple of points on Saturday night, and thought, man, um, we felt like this game was, you know, could have been slipping out of hand quickly.
Right.
And they ended up, being able to pull through there in that third quarter stretch. But I think the entire second quarter, and I think into halftime, the tension was tight at
Palpable.
Nipper Stadium, because it was one of those things where, as conditioned Cincinnati fans, we were waiting for the other shoe to drop, we were waiting for the penalty, we were waiting for the coach out on the field, we were waiting for something to happen
Right.
that was going to cause UC to end up losing the game. And how miserable would that have been had everything happened in place, had everything happened in place and UC didn't take care of their business. It reminds me of 2006. The
Ooh.
Cincinnati Bengals had a chance to go to the playoffs. They needed like 3 or 4 teams to win to get into the postseason, and they had all 3 teams win. And then it came down to a Week 16 matchup at Paul Brown Stadium. The Bengals missed the field goal to go for the win. They ended up staying tied, went into overtime, and then on the first play from scrimmage, Big Ben throws the ball to Santonio Holmes on the first or second play of overtime. He takes it for a touchdown. The game's over, and just like that, our hopes are crushed. It wasn't that. It wasn't that at all. Dana Holgerson couldn't do it. Clayton
Mm,
Tune couldn't do it. The
no.
UC Bearcats dominated. They did what they're supposed to do, and you know why? Because they're coached by a damn good coach.
That's right. That's 100% right. Brian, do you think this is the new norm for Cincinnati teams, is to get it done when it matters the most? I mean, you look at Cincinnati, you look at UC, they went to Notre Dame, they went to Indiana, they got it there,
Yeah,
won convincingly, covered the spread on both those games, beat Tulsa, won out, went undefeated, and then in the biggest moment of their entire football program, 134 years of football in Cincinnati, they got
yeah,
it done. And also on top
yeah,
of that, you look at the Bengals. Bengals are 3-1 in the division. Went into Baltimore, whooped their ass, whooped the Steelers' ass twice, and then on prime time won against Jacksonville. Do you think this is a new norm for Cincinnati teams to win in the big moment?
yeah, yeah. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. I would like to think that we have left last decade in the last decade, and that this new decade coming up is going to be full of successes. And what a great way to start, by getting the invitation to the college football playoff, the coveted 4 spots
Mhm.
that we thought was merely impossible for a school outside of the group, outside of the Power Five, and now here we are. Everybody can just
Yeah,
suck it, man. Just
they can
literally
suck it,
suck
man.
it. Just suck
They
it. I
they
know
can.
it's not really good radio speak, but just suck it,
Suck it.
man.
Oh my God! Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about that defense. So you brought up Clayton Tune, and Clayton Tune was on his back. It seemed like the whole game. 8 sacks from this
Hmm.
University of Cincinnati defense, and the defense didn't look great to start the game. They really, really didn't. But at the second half, they settled in. They looked like a top 10 caliber defense, and
Yeah.
they made a 11-1 Houston team look like they had no offensive line whatsoever.
Yeah, one of the big things that that when you recognize a good defense is when you see it is in the second half when Joel DeBlanco picked off Clayton Tune.
Yeah. Mhm.
That play was ran earlier in the first half, and they were kind of gashing UC, kind of in
Yep.
that middle 7 to 15 yard range, right across the middle, and that was really they ran that play a couple of times, and that was how they ended up scoring. First drive, I believe it was the first drive out of the second half,
Mm.
they ran that same exact play. And it was almost as if Joel DeBlanco was a spy, but he knew either Mike Tressel, the defensive coordinator, told him, and they said, "Hey, we're getting gashed on this particular play." But Joel DeBlanco knew that he was reading the quarterback's eyes, Clayton Tune's eyes, and he was able to pick off that ball. And then, that ended up sparking the next score, and all of a sudden we were in business.
You're right. The route was on at that point. Then on
Route was
top of
on.
that, after a couple of possessions, Jerome Ford with another 40-yard touchdown. I mean, my God,
Big.
how great has
Big.
Jerome Ford looked coming out of his injury?
Big.
I mean, and he could have, been not great. And to go against Houston, who has the third most sacks in college football, tied with Alabama, by the way, a really good defensive team, and to go for 165 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's just domination. That's ass whooping.
Yeah. I'll throw a proposition to you. Who has been more important to the University of Cincinnati over their years, Jerome Ford or Michael Warren III?
That's a great question. I would say this. I would say Jerome Ford is a better overall back. However, Michael Warren did it for longer, and he also did it in the stretch where the UC team wasn't as good. It was almost like he came with Luke Fickell, and he kind of brought the program up. That's a great question. Oh man.
If you just take out stats, who's the more valuable? And you want to
valuable?
The more valuable player. Obviously, you want to take Michael Warren because he is like the definition of what a Bearcat is.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at the transfer, Jerome Ford, and what he's meant the past 2 seasons, nearly put UC as winners in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Sealed, I guess you could say, multiple games this season, and gashed Houston twice, near the 50-yard line for touchdowns. Mm-hmm. So to me, I'm going to say Jerome Ford. Can you make a case for Michael Warren?
You can, because you could say that he's done it. He did it for 3 years, and he was also the first one to do it in the Luke Fickell era. You can, but I'll say just in terms of, I'm going to go with you. I'm going to say Jerome Ford is definitely probably the more valuable back. I think we're going to put the load on Jerome Ford when we do play Alabama. I think he's going to be the reason that we are not only in this game but win this game. And I think if we just control that ground game and this offensive line can get a push, who only allowed 1 sack. Dez was under some pressure. That's a great defensive line that they went against, but they only allowed 1 sack. And Dez had a good amount of time back there, and he unleashed a lot of really good deep balls. So I'll give Jerome Ford on that. Yeah. So let's go on the offensive side of the ball. It looks like Desmond Ridder he's in stride. It looks like he's about to mold right back into old Dez and what we knew, at the end of last season, and it could have happened at a better time.
Absolutely, man. And you look at over the course of the season, you look at the games that were just bleh, like the Tulsa game. You had the Tulane game down in freaking New Orleans. You had the freaking Navy game out in Annapolis. I mean, you had these games that were just clunkers. And the UC teams of the past, the Fickell 4-8 season, the Tuberville team, obviously we know they would have shut down and lost. This team knew this year that they had something to prove. They had something to work for. I mean, you really can't say too much about what they can't do. And, that's, it's hard to win all your games. It's hard to go. I mean, we mentioned it before. It's hard to go 13-0.
There's only one team in college football that has done this. Only one team in Division I that has actually done it. It's the University of Cincinnati Bearcats.
Correct. Right. It's hard to do that, and so it's like, and just going back to the point, the fact that the offense was able to get points when they could, even though it wasn't perfect. It by no stretch of the imagination was perfect. We wish it was, but it wasn't. But they still found ways to win games. That's the sign of a really good team. I don't care who you are. I don't care what division you're in. I don't care if you're the Conference USA or the SWAC or whatever. That's the definition of a good football team.
Absolutely. And then on top of that, they did it against the thing that I always go back to with Cincinnati is that they will have clunkers of games like we talked about against Navy, against freaking uh, what yeah, South Florida,
Tulane. Yeah. Yeah.
Tulane,
South Florida.
just bad games. But in the brightest moments is when they showed up completely. They beat Notre Dame by 2 scores. They covered against Houston. They covered the 15.5. They've done all of that. So now you get a full 3 weeks to rest up here before
Yeah.
the Cotton Bowl. So I think that just this team, and a lot of the casuals, as I like to call them, the casuals will say, Bama's going to hang 60.
Yeah.
Well, clearly they have not watched UC whatsoever. Then they
Yeah.
go to, well, think of the NFL talent on Bama versus
Yeah.
UC.
Yeah.
Well, then
Yeah.
I'll argue there is a lot of NFL talent on UC. I mean, we
Yeah.
talked about it. I got to tell you this: Joel DeBlanco's made himself a lot of money this year.
Yeah. Oh
He's made
yeah.
himself a lot of
Oh yeah.
money.
Oh yeah.
That's a
Oh
third
yeah.
round pick right there.
Oh yeah. I'm not ready for the argument piece from any fans saying that, you know, the UC's okay, whatever, fine. Look,
Yeah.
the average margin of defeat in the college football playoff semifinals is 21 points. Okay, so it's 3 scores. All right, and so that, right there. I mean, I don't care who you are. If UC goes out there and gets shellacked 56-0, they just did something pretty remarkable that no one else has ever done before, with the odds already stacked against them. Now, obviously, we don't want it to be a freaking blowout. That wouldn't be good. But to an extent, but my point is that they've already accomplished something beyond the realm of what we thought was actually possible to begin the year.
Yeah.
And I'm already ready to take that as the accomplishment. Now, if they go out and keep it close, I mean, hell yeah, let's go out there and let's go win a football game. But
hey, is the job finished? Is the job finished? I don't think so. Job's not finished.
Yeah.
Job's not finished. I'm tired of these UC fans saying, "Oh, we made it. That's all we wanted." No, that's not all we wanted. We are going there to win. I don't understand this mindset of we're going there to have fun, and if we get beat, no, we're going there to win. We can win. This Bama team is flawed. Man. And I'll tell you this: I understand the Tide are going to be ready. They're not. We're not going to catch them napping. We're going to have to go in there and beat their ass, and we're going to have to go in there and win. But we can. If we can establish a great ground game, which is what we can do. And Bama's best part of their team is their wide receiving core. You know what the best part of our team is? Our secondary.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah. And then after that, let's get Jerome Ford. Give him the ball, and let's get moving. I am expecting to go in there and compete and win the damn game.
Yeah. I think in terms of the actual football part of it, I think it's going to be interesting to see how the first half versus the second half plays out, because I do believe that the first half could be very evenly matched, or maybe more favoring UC. I think it's really about that second half, that the halftime adjustments. Obviously, we know what Nick Saban can do at a halftime. We know what can happen. We'll see what the second half brings. I think that'll be the tail of the tail, so to speak.
You mean the tail of the tape there, buddy boy?
No, tail of the tail.
Russ Blackthorne, one of our best listeners and all time great fans. I think being satisfied with just making playoffs is defeatist. You go to the playoffs, you go and you win it all. And I'm 100% agreement with Russ Blackthorne. I'm tired of looking at it. Oh, we made the playoff. This is it. Job is not finished. I want to go out there and win. I want to win the Cotton Bowl. I want to go and I want to win a national championship, and I think this team can do it. And I'm tired. And I'm tired of UC fans being happy with where we are.
Yeah. Well, and look, man, I have that competitive fire in me too.
Do you?
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. However, before we move forward, look, we still got like 20 some days till this game kicks off on December 31st. We still need to take a minute to appreciate and understand what they accomplished this year.
Yeah. That's not that right. But that's not what I'm saying.
The first group of 5 school to make the playoff. I'm not saying that they're not going to get here and just go in there and just get slack. Fair enough. but I am. It's not 16 versus a 1 seed either in college basketball. I mean, this is probably this is a good matchup for UC, and I think
It
that
is.
we would have said at the I think we would have said probably 2 or 3 weeks ago that the best matchup for UC had they made the playoff was Alabama.
I
It's
agree.
not.
Yes.
We probably weren't liking Georgia at that point. We
Mhm.
probably did. We probably didn't think Michigan was getting in because we thought Ohio State was getting in. We didn't like Ohio State as a matchup. They got blown out by Michigan. Now, I would have liked to see Michigan, but I'm okay not playing them. I think Bama is the best matchup. Bama has struggled this year. They damn near lost on probably 3 or 4 occasions this season,
Mhm.
and so you look at the most worthy opponent to possibly fall. Yeah, that's Alabama,
Yep.
100%. And so maybe, yeah, I mean, I think UC could give them a serious fight.
Oh yeah, 100%. And here's the thing. Again, I always go back to, we saw it last year against in the Peach Bowl. UC, and we saw it all this year. UC shines brightest when the lights are the brightest. At the
Mm,
biggest moment is when UC
yeah,
shows up. They're going to have
yeah,
3 weeks to prepare. And you're
yeah.
telling me Luke Fickle's not going to have this team ready to go out and win a national championship? I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Luke Fickle, the college football
Oh
playoff,
man,
he'll have them ready to go. He'll have them
he
ready to
will,
go.
he
This
will,
team is
he
going
will,
to believe in themselves. And I
he
think
will.
as a city, we need to start believing it. We need to be like,
Yeah,
yeah, we are going to go out and win. We
speak it
are going to
into
win the Cotton
existence.
Bowl, and we are going to go to the national championship, and we're going to
Yeah,
win that damn thing too. We
yeah.
need to
One
speak
of
it
the
into
yeah
existence.
one of the underlying storylines of this game is going to be the coaching minds that will be at play here. And I mean, you talk
Absolutely.
about two good football minds. You got Nick Saban, who's been doing it for forever, and
The
you got Luke
greatest college
Fickle.
football coach
Yes, yes, yes.
versus.
I am very much in agreement with that. And
Mhm.
until someone else comes to his national
No,
title status, I
they'll
believe that
never
is
get
Nick
close.
Saban. Now,
They'll never.
you look at the other sideline, and you got Luke Fickle, and he's got a plethora of coaching experience. He's also got the brass ass, so to speak, the understanding of a college of football. He's
Bride's a
got that
big fan of the
football
brass
understanding.
ass in Cincinnati,
Big fan,
Ohio.
big fan. Shout out to Newport, Kentucky. But he gets it, man. He
He's the
gets it.
Home Depot Coach of the
He gets
Year.
it.
He went back to back regular season undefeated. He's went back to back AAC conference titles, and now he took it. He's done the impossible. Is bring them there. Go back to it. And I know we're kind of jumping all over the place. I want to talk about the game against Houston. Now we're over the
Absolutely,
playoff.
yeah. We all
Now we're on the Bama. And we're all over the place. We're just so excited because I'll give you a quick story here. Me and Brian were sitting up at the end of a 4-8 season at the top of Nippert Stadium as we watched UConn miss the tying PAT to lose the game. So UC won the game, and we all said like, "This is the start. This is it." And
yeah,
now here we are.
yeah.
Now here we
That
are.
was a 4-8 season. It was bitter
Brutal.
cold that day. It was
It was
bitter
bad.
cold that day.
We
We
tailgated.
left.
We were out
We
there.
did. We did. We were out there. We were out there. No, we were at my apartment. That was where we were. We were at my
That's right.
apartment, and we hung out on the balcony and just kind of just hung out.
Couple boys,
Um,
couple guys.
just a couple of guys just hanging out on a Saturday. But
Right.
so we went from there to the UConn game, and let me tell you, there weren't a whole lot of people. There weren't a whole lot of asses in the seats,
Nope.
if you know what I mean. And we were there. We were there, and we watched the end of the game, and they ended up winning on some fluky stuff that UConn was running. They went for a 2-point conversion, if I remember correctly. They didn't get it, and then all of a sudden they missed the extra point, as you said, and we ended up walking out of there that night or that afternoon, and we're like, yep, this is it. And then you look
Yep.
at some of the games the following year. They took Navy 42-0, and I remember sitting in the stands with you during that one. And I turned to you and I said, "This is the start of something really special right here." I mean,
This is it.
they steamrolled Navy, they
Right. And that was
steamrolled
a
Navy.
Navy team that put up 500 yards on them the previous year.
That was a good,
So
yeah, yeah,
just to see the amazing progress forward. Brian, I want to jump back over to the college football playoff in and of itself. I just got a
Yeah.
question for you. I asked a lot of people. I asked Tony at the Tony and Mo football show at Twin Peaks. I was there. Talked a couple with them. Again, a couple of guys hanging out. But but I asked Tony. I said,
Just a couple of guys.
If Oklahoma State gets those last few inches, scores, and wins the game, what percentage would you have like, do you think
Yeah.
UC still makes it? Oklahoma State wins that game. Do you think UC still makes it?
That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. I don't know. That's a tough one. My
Put your
heart
life on
says
it.
yes. If I had a significant amount of money that mattered to me, as Millwager likes to use, I would say that I would put the money for UC not being in the playoff if
Really?
Oklahoma State ends up. Yeah, I don't know, man. It just didn't feel good. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they still controlled their own destiny at that point. We'll never know.
Mhm.
But
Thank God. Yeah.
thank thank God,
God.
whoever that
Yeah.
guy was that made that stop on needs to
Yeah.
needs to put a statue right next to Fickles.
Yeah. We do need a statue of that tackle, literally at the goal
I
line. That was.
I do want to say before we move on, I want to give a shout out to the Sigma Commons for having
Mm-hmm.
that game on
Mm-hmm.
that
Shout out.
TV that's kind of right there in the middle of campus, showing that game while we were tailgating before the UC Houston game. And we watched the 4th and goal play as we were walking into the stadium after a couple of cold pops. And we
Yeah.
watched the stop, and the crowd just went
Nuts.
absolutely wild, man. And like that, like, man, you talk about a memory. That's a memory right there, man.
It's
That
goosebumps,
was
man.
awesome. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
So let's go back to that atmosphere again. End of the game. We rushed the field. Absolutely insane. That had to be. I mean, that had to be the best college football atmosphere, probably of the year in all of college football. I can't even think. Maybe you put Michigan when they beat Ohio State at home, but that didn't mean as much as, honestly, as much as this did, because I mean, I would say this game meant more than that one this year. I would
Yeah.
say. Per-
Yeah, you think about what, like, you think about the buzz in the crowd. I mean, you just go back to that day, and you think about the buzz in the crowd.
And the
Oklahoma
lights.
State lost.
Yeah,
The lights were on. I mean, the
it was
crowd was
insane.
in their seats before kickoff, which is kind of a
Mhm.
rarity here in Cincinnati for those who are listening from out of region. With the Bearcats and Bengals, it's a very late arriving crowd on all
Mhm.
aspects.
Mhm.
But the crowd was in there, the buzz was there. You kind of just, I mean, it felt electric, man. Everybody knew what was at stake, which was awesome. Everybody
Every
knew
time
what was at stake.
every time they played Pump It Up, and I know you're not a huge fan of Pump It
I'm
Up,
on the
but I gotta
bandwagon
say,
now. I'm
you're
on the
on the
bandwagon.
bandwagon now. All
I'm on the
right, here we
bandwagon. I'm on the
go.
bandwagon. I'm on the
Because that just,
bandwagon.
God, the stadium just lights up when they play that
I'm on the
song. It's
bandwagon.
not, and I know you and I are big Cat Scratch Fever guys. I feel like they still do need to bring that back.
They
I
do.
hate that they went away with it, but they do need to
They
bring
do.
that back.
They have
Yeah.
to attract to the newer generation. But our generation, we grew up on Cat Scratch Fever and Michael
Mm.
Myers.
Right, the
So
Michael Myers on third down. Yeah, a lot of the younger generation doesn't really know about how you with on third downs they would play the Michael Myers. This is during the Brian Kelly, Butch Jones era, man. That's old school right there.
that was intense.
That's old school. So Brian, I wanna go now to just what it has meant to the city of
Yeah.
Cincinnati. The city, just to give you a great example, obviously I'm on the Stripe Squad, huge in the Bengals organization, big time. But
Big.
before the game, obviously I'm sitting out on the stage. I'm sitting in the throne. I have a great picture of it. I'm sitting in the throne watching the college football playoff show, which is pretty awesome. I got to get that photo.
Beautiful.
I'll tweet it out here in a little bit.
Beautiful.
But before the game, once they announced it and once UC was in, they put the selection show up in Paul Brown Stadium, and the crowd gave a real nice standing ovation. Even the Chargers fans were giving an ovation. Like It was really, really fun. And then during the game, Chad Johnson comes on and he said,
I love it.
I'm going to show you guys something that you'll like. And they showed the game against the Steelers 45-7. And they said, I'll show you something that you'll really like. They said 13-0
I
college
love
football
it.
playoff.
I
And the
love it.
stadium
I love it.
erupted.
Yeah.
It erupted. This city is behind the Bearcats.
Yeah.
And I think that this city has realized that we have a team that we can go around that delivers.
Yeah.
That delivers and doesn't give us heartbreak.
Yeah.
And wins in the big moment.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the University of Cincinnati football team impact on the city of Cincinnati in sports?
Yeah, they're just a likable team, and
Yeah.
I want to take all my bias out of it when I say that, but it's true. They're a truly likable team. They have a head coach who gets it, man. And you know what? For a long time in the city, we do not have a lot of head coaches who we think got it. You know, they might have got the X and O's and the schematics part of it, but just the football sense, right? Like
The
Marvin Lewis,
dedication to it,
I just don't think that Marvin Lewis got it from not the schematics aspect, but from just like the football aspect, right? He just wasn't a very likable guy. He was just kind of a brittle guy. I think people like Luke Fickell. People like him. I don't think people like David Bell very much. You know, I didn't think people like Dusty Baker, but I think some people didn't like Dusty Baker.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy.
We know people didn't like Mick Cronin. We know people don't like Travis Steele. We know people.
Up to this year, talk about Zach Taylor. I mean, up to this year,
I think
the
verdicts. Yeah, I think the verdict's still out on Zach Taylor, but I think he gets it more too. You know, and when I say that, you know, that appeals to the casual fan. That doesn't appeal to me and you. Me and you are going to like the team no matter what, right? We have the blood, right? But to the casual fan, to the one who needs something to do on a Saturday afternoon, that appeals to them, you know? And I think when you can get behind that, when you get behind the fact that they are going to a new conference, obviously that makes a huge difference, and that they're only going to spend, 2 more years in this stupid ass conference, and they're going to move on to another one. And you know, they have a quarterback who's a likable guy. He gets it. He goes to school.
He wins.
He has a kid. He wins. He takes care of the kid. I mean, he does it all. He's a very likable guy. Look, this whole team is likable. I mean, they are. And you know, it's just they just do it, man. They just do it. And they just do it. And you know, I love the fact that we've seen more, you know, memorabilia, billboards, radio advertisements that are showing UC football. I wish there was more. I wish that there was more radio shows dedicated to UC football.
More,
just because I think that they're very much deserving of it.
We're on one right now, there, big boy.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, yeah, you're right. But you know, but you get what I mean, though. I mean, it's truly remarkable. They're a fun team, man.
And I think it's not only just the football sense of it. It's everything outside of it. It's dedication to the program. I mean, we saw Tommy Tuberville was not dedicated to the program. And you know, say what you want. Brian Kelly and Butch Jones both had success here. They didn't show true dedication. I'm staying here. This is my home. This is what we're doing. This is what we're building. They were looking for the next one out. Luke Fickell doesn't seem like that at all. It seems like these rumors keep popping up and they keep dying down immediately. And this team, and we know this in this city, when you win, the fans come out. The city comes out. The city backs you. And we saw it happen this year. I got to say, this has been the best year in terms of home games. Because every single game, I'm pretty sure every game was a sellout. Everybody was in their seats at the start of the game, no matter how bad the opponent was. It was a sellout, and the city showed up. And when the team wins, and there's a heartbeat, there's an excitement, there's a buzz. The city of Cincinnati gets behind you, and this is what they did, 13-0. And I think this city is dying for a champion. And you know what?
Yes.
You know what? We've been dying for a champion, and you know what? Maybe, just maybe, the University of Cincinnati football team, which 4 years ago you would not say would have the first championship in Cincinnati out of all of our pro and college teams. You would definitely not say them. but it's the most likely, and they're the closest. They're 2 games away. They're 2
Yeah.
games away from a
It's a
national
city.
championship.
It's a city with grit. It's a city that wakes up and goes to work every single day. It's a blue collar type of city, man. And now they got a winner. Now, to quote Butch Jones, we all got to hold the rope, and it's time to get into the playoff. And we did that
And
part. Now it's time to win a championship. And man, I'm just fired up just hearing that rah rah speech right there. You might as well take your podium down the Fountain Square and start talking to people and
I
passing out
will. I'm gonna cut
pamphlets.
that. I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna put that up there because it's serious. I'm tired of we showing up. We're gonna get beat by Bama. Why are we even playing the game then?
Yeah,
Why? We're going there to win the damn game. We're going there
yeah,
to win. We're going to Dallas expecting to win. I'm tired of it. Bama's a great opponent. We're playing the greatest coach of all time. And you know what? But that being said, I am putting my money on the Cats. You know I'm betting
hell
Cats
yeah,
money line. You know that's exactly what I'm doing. And I'm telling you, I think UC's got a real shot.
yeah.
And we got a lot. Got a lot going for us. Brian, I
Can
want
you
to
imagine? Can you
go ahead.
imagine? Imagine the hype if UC wins in Dallas and they have a national championship game in Indianapolis on
Indianapolis.
January the 10th. That would be truly insane.
Insane.
Absolutely insane.
It's a home. I mean, it's a home game. It really
That would
is.
be a
It's a
home
home
game.
game. It would
100%.
be a home game.
100%. That would be a home
Indiana,
game.
all of Indiana would pull for UC because at that point, I mean, I was hearing about it earlier today. You're going to start to slowly see now that UC is in, and that like all the other pesky little teams that were trying to get in didn't get in. They're going to realize, okay, UC is the underdog. They're gonna be the darling. They're going to be America's team. So
Yeah.
all especially if they win. If they win, it's
Oh,
all
yeah.
I'll tell you. That town will be painted black and red. If we're playing Michigan, black and red. If we're playing actually if Michigan,
Boy, that would be
it'll be
that
fight
would
to
be
the
a
streets.
regional. Yeah, that would be a
That
regional matchup right there. UC
trash
and
talk will get
Michigan.
tough,
Are you
man.
kidding me?
Are you kidding me?
The other Ohio school, the other Ohio school.
School. Yeah.
Come suck on
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you know what felt the best when I was watching the college football playoff show
Yeah,
was when they showed Ohio State
yeah.
at 6 and Notre Dame at 5 and then UC at 4. All that had to hurt. All that had to hurt.
Oh
For all
man.
of our listeners that you all don't know, me and my brother have our family reunion coming up on Saturday, and all of our family is Ohio State fans. And we're going in. We're not dressing up. We're wearing UC stuff, and we're just gonna walk around the flop, just waving it in all their face to say, "Hey, buddy, how's that taste? How's that taste?" All those
Yeah,
Notre Dame, those Ohio State fans, take a picture of it, mount it on the wall, man.
correct. Pass it out to everybody that we know. Suck on
On
that.
that. That'll be actually that's gonna be my white elephant gift right there. I'm just gonna have I'm having UC
A bunch of
stuff that it's
UC
just gonna
gifts.
say it's just suck on that. Oh, good stuff, man.
It's
Good
not
stuff.
bad.
All right, well, Brian, we have a lot more to get to, but I want to save it because we got a couple weeks until the game happens. We will keep going on Wednesdays. We're gonna do our best. Obviously, we'll do one next week. We'll probably do a lot more next week. Will probably be a lot more memories, maybe talking about some UC other stuff. And then after that, we'll start getting really into the preview of the game, and we'll go from there. Brian, real quick before we hop off here, let's shift over to from football to the crosstown shootout, which is
Yeah,
Saturday. One of the
yeah,
biggest, the
yeah,
biggest inner city events that this city has. I got to say, probably the most underrated rivalry in all of college basketball, maybe
yeah,
all of NCAA sports in
yeah,
general.
yeah.
Does it feel like the shootout has gotten there's less buzz or less trash talk about the shootout because of how good UC football is doing?
Yeah, I was about to make that part of my answer. The in years past, it's always been the crosstown shootout was a much bigger deal because UC football was going to some Potato Bowl or
Military Bowl,
something like that, whatever
Birmingham Bowl,
Birmingham Bowl, the Military Bowl twice. What
terrible.
the hell? Anyway, so but this year, yeah, it does feel kind of overshadowed with the playoff. I think the rivalry kind of has some fuel taken out with Mick Cronin leaving and going to UCLA just because that him and Xavier didn't like each other for many years. It is the 10-year anniversary of the Yancey Gates and Kenny Freeze punch out. So
Oh yeah.
always good stuff there from UC's front.
How did you feel about Wes Miller addressing Xavier as Egg Xavier? Egg Xavier.
I like it, man.
And you know what? He did that on purpose.
I like
knows
it.
he knows what he's doing.
He
knows what he's
he
doing.
brings some swagger, man. He brings some
He does.
swagger. So I think definitely he could fill in the shoes well of Mick Cronin and kind of piss him off a little bit. And so I'm very eager to see how they perform. I think it'll be an interesting game. They don't fare well at the Centos Center, so I am concerned about that. If it was at Fifth Third, I would have thought differently. But
Yeah.
I think it being at Centos makes it a little bit different. I wish they had it at Heritage Bank every year.
Oh
because...
no.
No?
No. This is a campus game.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. You're right. Okay.
Because we went to it when
Okay.
it was at US Bank, and Xavier fans didn't show up, and UC fans did, and
Yeah.
it just there wasn't
not the
enough.
same.
It wasn't loud enough. There wasn't enough, tears if the away team won, or cheers when UC wins at home. So
Right.
no, I like it on campus. That's
Fair
my
enough.
favorite thing about it. Yeah, UC is going to be fighting an uphill battle. I mean, I do think clearly Xavier is a better basketball team in terms of just talent and being together for longer. And I mean, obviously, this is Wes Miller's first year. If he goes out and he wins the shootout, I mean, that's
It's a big one.
huge. That's a big one. That's setting the tone for years to come. I was talking with some of my old Barstool buddies about the dates of the crosstown shootout, and I very much aired my grievance. I wish that this game was more towards January or February. I think it would be better for the shootout.
I agree. I agree. I hate that they shove it at the beginning of December. I honestly wish it was the last game of the year. Like that would be fun. Like March, the last game in March before getting to the conference tournament is you schedule that one, and that would cause a bunch of scheduling conflicts. And I know both conferences don't want to take on for one rivalry game. A couple years ago, I want to say almost probably 10, maybe 11 years ago, maybe less than that. They had it like kind of like in the middle of February, and it was fun. I mean, both teams were good at the time, and it was going to be a matchup. And I think UC, if I remember correctly, UC ended up winning that matchup at Fifth Third Arena. But to your point, yeah, I wish it was later in the year.
Yeah, it's just not only are the teams more developed at that time, it's going to mean more, and also it's not overshadowed by football. Like the entire city can focus on one game. You know what I mean? I think the hype and the buzz would be a lot more. But I think, but either way, man, it's the crosstown shootout. It's UC. It's Xavier. It's Xavier Hate Week. It is 7:49 p.m. and Xavier still sucks. They suck. I'm taking the Bearcats plus the 8.5. Give me the money line.
Slam it.
All right, Brian Miller, I want to thank you so much for coming on, and go Bearcats, man. This is some great conversation.
Go Bearcats, man.
All right, y'all. So this has been the Back Row Bengals Show, College Football Special Edition. I am your host, Josh Miller. You can find all of my blogs on the what's the website? Stripehype.com, or you can go over to fansided.com as well. Read some of my blogs over there, and they're published every day. We'll be back tomorrow talking Bengals, previewing the dreaded matchup against the 49ers. It's going to be a great one. So from Brian Miller and Josh Miller here, the Bearcats are in. We play Bama in the Cotton Bowl, and your boy Josh Miller is picking the Bearcats to win. We'll be back here next Wednesday. Thank you all so much for listening. Go Bearcats, and I'll see